Hey everyone, it's Kristen, and we have a lot to talk about. Today, we're talking about this brand new episode of Charmed, season 3, episode 17, but also the big news that Madeleine Mantock, who we all know and love as Macy, is not returning for the show's 4th season. She is going to be leaving at the end of the season, and there's only one more episode left, so this is gonna be the last time we're gonna see her as Macy, potentially. So I know this was like super shocking news. I want to give a quick shout out because I was tagged on Twitter by let's see Sean Alexander at Fearless, who tagged me and a bunch of other Charmed bloggers that this was happening. Like, this news is crazy shocking. I think what I would like to do is talk through this episode and then get into like what's going to happen next, especially now that Madeleine is leaving, and we'll talk through the article and all of the different theories and also statements from other cast members and the crew and everything. So yeah, let's talk about this episode first. So I see there's a whole bunch of comments and questions and thoughts already. So thank you guys so much for already joining me for this one. And I promise we'll get to everything. But if you have something you specifically really, 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 really want me to address, feel free to throw in a super chat, but I'll try to get to everything. So let's start out with this episode of Charmed. We really have 3 different storylines going on in this episode: Harry with Maggie, Macy with Abby, and Mel with Josefina. Josefina is back in this episode. And with Mel and Josefina's storyline, she's really there to help Mel try to slow down her pregnancy, because it looks like, she's having contractions and the baby's possibly going to come soon, potentially during, this time period, which, we thought at this point maybe future Mel would have come to take the baby back, but she hasn't. So they start making a potion to just kind of like slow down her contractions. And while they're making it, Josefina shares this letter from Marisol with her that, that her mom has had for, several years. And they end up finding a secret code in it, revealing that Marisol knew that she was going to give birth to the Charmed ones. And that's why she took the Book of Shadows, and why she, left to protect the daughters that she was going to have, but also to protect her family in Puerto Rico. So I thought that was a really important plot point, especially for Mel to just, I think that they've really felt like they don't really know their mom over the course of this series. And I think this was a nice moment to kind of see that, everything that she's done, all the secrets that she's kept, have really been to protect everybody as best as she could. She didn't really have any other choice, I guess, at that point, or that's what she felt like. Though I will say later, it turns out that the potion blocks her powers, Mel's powers, and now she has to make this big choice. They have to use the power of 3 to stop this whispering evil. So, you kind of have like this big choice. The baby's either going to be born in this time, either not going to be born in this time, or you are going to save Jordan and the world. Like, what's your choice? And, whatever she's going to do, she's always going to protect that baby like her mom always protected them. For the next part of this story, we were following Harry and Maggie, who are on a journey to stop Jordan, aka the Whispering Evil, whose big plan is to infect the water supply with with this virus, this infection, and contaminate it so that it will spread onto, everyone around them. Again, I think it's a little silly that Jordan / the Whispering Evil was gone for, however many episodes, and didn't just contaminate everything then. It's like, I will specifically wait so the Charmed ones know that I am the Whispering Evil to do this. You would have thought he would have already infected everything by now at this point. And then Maggie does get scratched. And so she's infected. And, girl was kind of saying what we were all thinking a little bit, which is, Harry, you're useless. I know it was the infection, but also sometimes it was kind of true. Harry has always been the one that I guess he's supposed to be their guide, but he was always one getting kidnapped and getting into trouble. Then they have to help him. So I was like, Maggie, you're right. He is a little bit useless. And also now that, his powers are officially gone, it's kind of like, now what are you going to do? So, we see Maggie sort of, dealing and trying to fight this infection and also trying to fight, evil Jordan. And he's trying to get into her head, saying all these things that she doesn't really want to hear. They do end up stopping him, which is great. And we will get into that in a minute. The vanquish, if you will. But going back a little bit more to the story now with Macy and Abigail, they end up teaming up to get this special dagger that is going to the blade of clarity that is supposed to remove the power, the fire power that Macy gave up and Abigail took, and give it back to Macy. So Macy's going to be Demon Macy again, which is, I think, something that I was really excited for. I'm not sure if everyone else was very excited about that. Although now that we know that Madeleine Mantock's leaving the show, it's sort of like anticlimactic, all of that, really. The fact that, she's got her demon powers back, the fact that Harry's finally mortal, all of that sort of loses its impact, I think, because, Madeleine Mantock's not going to be there anymore. You've been pushing the storyline of Hasty forward, and that's why Harry even gave up his powers and his immortality. You have been pushing this story, forward of Macy's demon powers needing to come back, which they get the power back, and they're trying to use that power of 3 plus her demon powers to stop the Whispering Evil, which they think they did, but it turns out apparently not, because they never got one of those little like runes that they got from the other demons and monsters that they've defeated. So basically everything's still going on, like the Whispering Evil is still out there, going to look for a new source. Who is that going to be? And I think this was a fun episode. I think we did get to, learn a lot of things. I like that we went back to that like Marisol storyline. But yeah, I just feel like now when you kind of look at what's happening for the finale, which is next week, we got the finale coming. It just feels like everything's a bit anticlimactic now that we know that Madeleine Mantock's not coming back. So, I'm going to go through all of your comments and we'll just address it all. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the top. I think the big thing at this point is what is going to happen in this finale. I see a bunch of comments saying that they just read that Madeleine Mantock is leaving. And it's like the original show all over again. They were finally getting better with developing a closeness with the sisters. We didn't really get to see their powers evolve. And yeah, I totally feel that, Fred. It feels like Prue all over again. Macy isn't being killed off. They said she'll come back. So you know what? That's a great point. Let's talk a little bit more about Madeleine leaving. So I will read a little bit from this article. So TV Line got an exclusive from Madeleine Mantock, an exclusive statement where she said, "Playing Macy on Charmed for the last 3 seasons has been an immense privilege, and I have so enjoyed working with our fantastic producers, creatives, cast, and crew. I'm incredibly grateful to the CW and CBS studios for my time on the show and for being a brilliant support in my difficult decision to leave. Huge thanks to our fans who can look forward to what I know will be a spectacular 4th season." And then there's also some comments from the showrunners, Liz Kruger and Craig Shapiro, who said, "We can't thank Madeleine enough for her incredible, inspiring work on Charmed. We will miss her as much as the fans will, but we also respect her decision to move on. This is a difficult time in the world, and everyone has to follow their heart. We wish her well, and the door is always open for a return visit from Macy one way or another." And then there's also a comment that was posted by Rupert Evans, who, is Harry, who said, "To a wonderful actor, a great human, and fellow devotee of polishing, you'll be greatly missed. Working with you was never boring, always fun, and you kept me on your toes. Thanks for bringing Macy to life so brilliantly every single day." So those are some of the comments and like statements from people that worked on the show. And it's like, the fact that they say that she's welcome back anytime she wants, like, to, the door's open for a return visit one way or another, that to me doesn't necessarily mean that she's not dead, or that she doesn't die off. We've seen Marisol come back as like a spirit or a ghost, or as someone who was, a fake possession, really. So I think that there are a lot of options. It's also like, who's going to come in? Is there another other secret sister? That would be a little too much, I think. Or will they maybe have someone like Josefina step in? Or, I think that there's a lot of options. So let's see what else everyone has to say. I'm trying to figure out how the show will continue with only 2 sisters if they need all 3. That's a great point. Maybe there will be, like I said, another secret sister. Maybe things will change where you don't need the power of 3. I mean, the fact that it seems like in the next episode, they're going to be like figuring out maybe potentially a new whitelighter situation. Like maybe things can change completely. I mean, then is it really Charmed still if it's not the power of 3? That's a valid question. And going into next, to the finale, the log line is: when an encounter with the Whispering Evil leaves Macy on the brink of death, Mel and Maggie cast an ancient spell, sending the Charmed Ones off on a series of epic adventures. Meanwhile, realizing only a whitelighter can save Macy, Harry asks Jordan and Celeste to help him do the unthinkable. And we see at the end that he, in the promo, that it looks like he needs to die in order to become a whitelighter again. And it just seemed like that was too quick, right? Like he literally just, first of all, they took so long going on this journey of him getting rid of his powers. And now the minute they're finally gone, the next episode, he needs them back because he needs to save Macy. Like, isn't this like something that you would have thought about? Like, that whole point of being a whitelighter is you're the guide and you have the healing powers. So like, it just seems like kind of obvious, but also like, so quick that like immediately something goes wrong. And it's like, how are they even going to write Macy off the show? That's another great question. Okay, so let's see. We got some more comments. What if Jordan becomes a whitelighter? I think that would be really awesome. I would love to see him and Harry become whitelighters, but like maybe different versions of whitelighters. Let's see. Lotus says, what if Macy has a secret twin sister? I mean, I guess they wouldn't be identical twins since she's leaving. So I don't know. I don't think so. That would be crazy. That would be crazy because it's like, then what happened to that girl? Like, she doesn't even know she has a secret twin. Let's see. Let's see what else. This is going through the destruction of the sisterhood. That they did say that. Lotus says, I think the best thing to do is recast Macy. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Madeleine Mantock was so good as Macy. I think that it would be weird for them to recast her. And they also said she could come back. So like, if they recast her, then how would she come back? I don't think that they would do that. Let's see what else. Lotus says, if they really do another long lost sister, that would make their mom look really shady. Like, that'd be just crazy if they're just like bringing out all these secret long lost sisters. MB says that this new, all this plot point stuff just watered down their characters. Darren also thinks they're going to recast her. They can't bring in a new witch like they did with Paige. I don't know. I think that they won't recast her. And maybe I could see them maybe bringing Josefina in somehow. Like maybe they're able to transfer. Like, okay, my thought maybe would be for the finale, they already are saying Macy's on the brink of death. Maybe the way to save her is by taking, or like to save the power of 3 is to like remove something from her and give that to like Josefina or something. And that will give maybe Josefina the power of 3 while Macy, either passes on or something. And then maybe she could come back as like a ghost or something in the future or in flashbacks or something if they really ever wanted her to come back. Because they said that, like I said, they'd want her to come back at some point. The door's always open, whatever she wants to do. Hermes says, we still haven't even watched Macy and Mel connect. Seriously, okay, one thing that really bugged me was you would just think, this whole beginning of the season, none of them could touch. I was waiting for, like, where's the big sister group hug, right? Like, where's the big sister group hug? That would have been the first thing I would have written in. Just the fact that, like, they can actually touch now, geesh. Shill says this season feels kind of pointless now. I enjoyed this episode though. Yeah, like I think that if they were going to announce that Madeleine's leaving, I would have waited till the last episode. I wouldn't have done it just yet because I feel like now it does feel like, okay, well now she, like, something's going to happen next episode with her and she's not coming back. I think I would have liked to maybe see that announced maybe next week or something. That's so. NJ says, I feel like the show will just get canceled, which is disappointing. Maybe she's leaving. Maybe he's leaving with her because he was already cast on another show. Oh, you think Rupert's gonna leave too? I don't think so. You never know. But I don't think so because I feel like the role that he's playing in Bridgerton is like the father that already passed away, so he's gonna be more doing like flashback roles. Like I don't think that would require him to like leave the show. Let's see. Shill says Macy's my favorite sister, then Maggie, and then Mel. But the main problem is they were really giving Abigail all of Macy's storylines, and it's said because she got more development than Macy, which I agree with. I felt like the first 2 seasons, Macy was like the best character, and then this season, maybe because they knew she was getting written off, I don't know. They just kind of took everything away from her. She didn't have her science. It was all about Hasty, and now that doesn't even matter anymore since she's not going to be on the show. So yeah, I really agree with that, and it's sad to see because Macy was such an amazing character, and I feel like they did her dirty this season. Yeah. But it is interesting. Like, I'm curious, like, did they know for a long time that she was going to be leaving? Was that a plan that, like, okay, 3rd season, just like the original show, like maybe that, I wonder, like, was that set up or was that just like, just happens to be suspicious? Wolf 5 says, show was a joke at this point. Who knew season 1 was going to be the best one? Honestly, season 1 was really good looking back now. I know we were like a little like mixed at the time, but looking back, yeah. And Fred says, so the show is losing both Macy and Abigail. Yeah, interesting. I mean, this could be a chance to bring in some new people in season 4 and kind of switch things up. I mean, I think the original show, while it was really sad to lose Prue, it really gave these other actors a chance to kind of like step up and take on different types of roles. So like, are we going to see that, or is that, and like they're going to actually bring something new and refreshing to the show, or is it just going to be like, oh, we're done. This is just the, maybe season 4 will be the last season because they won't be able to keep it going. Lotus says, I was so excited about the demon powers, but I don't know now that Madeleine's leaving. Exactly. Yeah, it was like, they were setting up all these things that now kind of mean nothing now that Madeleine's leaving. So, MB also says she had more depth to her, unlike the other sisters. There was so much they could have done with her character. They dropped the ball with that character. Yeah, the first 2 seasons, man, she had so much going on with her demon side, and I just thought it was so fascinating with her science, with everything, and they really just kind of got rid of all of that in season 3. So it makes me wonder, like, did she feel that way too? Like, did Madeleine feel like, that kind of taken everything away from my character that was really interesting. Maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Kevin Jones says, infected Maggie was dropping some harsh truths. I mean, Maggie was saying what we all thought about Harry. It was great. It was true, yeah. Tornado says, "Oh no, the curse of Charmed. First Shannon Doherty, now Madeleine. Why is the third sister always fated to that? Why is that always their fate?" Toby says, "I preferred Macy in season 1. She was more relatable to me personally. She was my favorite out of the 3, but that changed as the show progressed." Fred says, "I didn't expect this. I would have thought Madeleine Diaz would have been the first to leave, especially since she was pregnant." Yeah, and also there was that moment. I think we talked about it like a couple of episodes ago. Actually, it might have been, was it last season? There's so many episodes, but we were talking about how like they showed that Charmed book, and it was like the names of the passed on sisters were in red, and then Mel had red nail polish on, and we were like theorizing that maybe that was like a hint that she was going to be the first one to like die or something. MB says, "The only relationship that seems genuine is Jordan and Maggie." Yes, and they had a really cute moment at the end of this episode where it looked like maybe they could get together. I know that's something we've been waiting for. And I think they actually did. This is like the one relationship I think they did a good job with, because, you know, I think for a while it was like they just always had some kind of relationship. It was really annoying. And then now, you know, they really took their time building Jordan and Maggie's friendship to the point where you're like, yeah, I like them together. That's someone who says, "Kind of upset that Harry went through all of that just to try to get his powers back." And yep, now it means nothing because he needs his powers back again. So the sisters' relationship is important. Equally important, though, is ensuring characters are not written as a 180. Macy seems to have done a 180 since seasons 1 to 3. Her scientist aspect is no longer there. Yep, very true. Toby says, "Let's say Celeste does find a way to give Harry his powers back. Then what? Jordan and Abby have easily saved the Charmed Ones more times than Harry has ever done." Very true. Very, very true. All right. Let's see. Harry's storyline is pointless now. They should have just made Jordan a whitelighter. I agree with that. I think Jordan would be a great whitelighter. The story arc for Harry to get his powers back is ridiculously quick. Seriously. Toby thinks that Josefina being a charmed one would make no sense. I think it would be kind of cool. I feel like that's the only way I could think that they would go, unless they bring in a whole new sister, which is like, geez, Louise, how many sisters are there? Another random theory that I had, which I don't think really makes sense either, but like, what if Mel's baby is born and is a girl, and then like maybe is aged up somehow through magic or whatever, and becomes a charmed one? I don't know how that would really work, but oh wait, Hermes is saying the same thing I'm thinking. You know, what if Mel's baby or whoever's the other parent of that or whatever is related to replacing a charmed one? Yeah, that would be interesting. Gerard says, "If they go without the power of 3, then it won't be Charmed. I honestly believe Madeleine is leaving because of creative differences due to how a completely 180 she has done since season 1. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Taylor says, "The writing of this show really makes me not enjoy it." Yeah, you know, I mean, I feel like a lot of people like rag on CW shows and they're like, they're not good. But I'm like, honestly, like some of them are like, so many of them are really, really good. But I feel like Charmed is always a little bit, it's like missing something, you know, and I think it's in the writing for sure. It's just like messy, you know, but like not in a fun way. Like it's just like messy where like we are all paying close attention to every detail and we want to see like all this progression and we're not getting that. And I'm like, why? Desiree says she really shouldn't go. It's gonna be like Prue all over again. She'll says, right, we only had one sister group hug. What the heck? But MB says that he likes they like the whispering evil story. It's intense. I do like it. I like that it's not over yet, because I was also like, okay, there's one more episode left. What's going to happen now that they've already defeated the whispering evil? But apparently they haven't. So I guess this next episode they will, or it'll just get worse. one of the two options. Jocelyn also says, thank you. I was annoyed that they didn't wait until after the finale aired too. Now I'm not as excited, right? I think that it was a little bit of a mistake to release that Madeleine was leaving so soon. I would have waited till the finale. Mercenary says, I was surprised by the news and wonder what's going to happen in the show moving forward. Yeah, I want to hear you guys' theories. Keep them coming. Whatever theories you have of what are they going to do next, what's going to happen with Harry, Macy's death, or other plans, whatever. I don't know. What are they going to do? Is she going to die? Is she going to do something else? Is she going to be trapped in some sort of way? What is going to happen with the other sisters? Who's going to step in for the power of three? Will it even be a power of three? Lotus says that one episode where Maisie had a dream about Abigail taking her place as the third sister makes me think of the power of three. I agree with this, definitely, Liliana. As much as shipping is fun, I feel like the focus from season 2 onward focused too much on Hasty, which in my opinion got in the way of the focus of the sisterhood. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. I really wish that they would just focus on something else. But now I guess Hasty's over, so, or gonna be over. Quay says, Macy's leaving. Yes, Macy is leaving the show. Madeleine Mantock has made a statement saying that she is done after this season. We have one more episode left and she's not going to be in season 4. Although they have said, like I mentioned, that the showrunner said that the door is always open for a return visit from Macy one way or another. So who knows what that really means. But yeah, she's leaving. Yeah, I feel like everyone's feeling the same way. I'm sad that she's leaving. She was my favorite sister too. I think they did her dirty this last season though. Oh, interesting. Tornado has a theory that Shannon Doherty left because they always planned to have the third sister leave, but they thought it'd be hard for them to, audiences to accept that, so they made the feud up. Conspiracies. Kevin Jones says season 4 is definitely going to be different. I think so. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we got more people coming into the picture. I mean, I think they're gonna have to really do something very exciting and different for people to stick with the show now. Because I will say, Shannon Doherty leaving Charmed was a big thing, but then they got a big name to come in, and I still feel like people already have been very mixed about this iteration of Charmed, and now to lose probably one of the fan favorite characters, it's will people really want to keep up with the show anymore now? You're going to need to get someone either really, really big in that everyone loves, or I don't know if the show's going to last. And as Gerard says, I don't even know what season 4 is going to be. Losing a main Charmed one without even fleshing them out in this reboot, can they really save the show? Yeah, I feel like this is potentially the beginning of the end. But I will say that I've just had so much fun with you guys every week talking about the show. The fact that, that so many of you are here right now. There's 64 people here. This is the most I think that anyone's, been on to chat, and I appreciate you guys every week talking to me about the show, tagging me in your theories, tagging me in articles like this one so I know what's going on and everything, and just joining me every week so that we can, talk about Charmed and our theories and what's going to happen. And I know sometimes the episodes are not what we hoped, and the stories aren't going where we hope, but I still have fun with you guys every week, so I really appreciate it. And I hope that whether Charmed continues or not, you'll stay tuned to my channel, because I do tons of reviews and interviews and discussions all the time about everything, so many shows and movies. So I hope you guys will stick with me, even if Charmed disappears or goes downhill or whatever, now that we're getting all this crazy news. So yeah, let's see. We got Ezekiel says, not another half sister, please. Quay says, Macy will always be that girl. Absolutely. Ryan says, I remember they announced Shannon Doherty's departure right before the 3rd season finale too. Interesting. Hermes says, I believe that Mel's baby is going to be a boy since it's already important and can heal the allergy. Maybe it can change the laws of magic and introduce male witches. That would be interesting. I think the idea of changing the laws of magic, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe if they do something like that. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. Oh, yeah. Abisha, I just woke up from a different time zone. I clicked as soon as I saw the title. Mel is my favorite sister, but it won't be the same without Madeleine. Yeah. I agree. It's gonna be difficult to get through. I'm hoping that they can do it. But like I said, regardless, I'm so glad that we all have been able to, chat about this show and our fandom. It's very, the power of the internet, especially in these trying times. Oh my gosh, there's so many comments from you guys. I really appreciate it. Shannon, technically Mel is the half sister. Unapologetic says, why is she leaving the show? I thought the actress would stay. What's it going to be like without Macy? They didn't give any specific details of why she's leaving. I mean, we can only really speculate at this point. But a couple of people have mentioned before maybe the fact that the direction of the show, the way that it's been going, maybe she wasn't interested in that. Maybe there was creative differences. Maybe that was the plan all along, to be like the original Charmed in third season, change everything up, bring in someone new for the fourth season. I mean, there's really who really knows. Heather says that the season 3 writing was awful. I'm super bummed about Macy and Abigail leaving. I don't imagine they will be renewed for season 5. I mean, and you know what? Actually, it's so interesting the way that I just felt like the way that Macy was smiling and talking to Abby just kind of felt a little bit like a goodbye, but maybe more than just goodbye to Abigail. Maybe that was her way of saying goodbye to us a little bit. I don't know. Jocelyn says, I want to be positive, but I have a feeling that this is the end of the Charmed reboot for me. They need to reboot the reboot. Hermes says, I'll try to be hopeful. In the original, we ended up loving Paige. That is true. But I think in the original show, Shannon Doherty was a huge name, and when she left, they got another big name to take her place. So, I don't know if I would say Madeleine's necessarily a big name, but maybe if they could get someone big and exciting and interesting to kind of come in and change the dynamic, someone who's not going to be the same as her, but maybe bring some interesting new dynamics in, that would be cool. Or again, could be Josefina, which I do like Josefina a lot. I'm just not sure what it's going to be like. I have no idea. Oh, Quay says, I've been subbed to you for 3 years now. I'm not going anywhere. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's not be sad for now. We still have one more season to talk about. That is true. We got to talk about season 4, I'm sure, when it comes out, because it's going to be so different. We're going to be what is happening? We really need to get through this together. So we'll really all have to band together as a community. Let me see. Oh, Hermes says maybe it'll have something to do with her being resurrected in the past. Yeah, Macy was technically stillborn and resurrected. So yeah, maybe there'll be something. I like when they go back to make references to things of the past episodes. So that would be really cool. Let me see. I saw something. Fred says that he thinks Madeleine still lives in London and wanted to return home. That's what I got from the producer's statement. Maybe the commute back and forth was a factor in her decision. Interesting. That could be, they do say it's a difficult time in the world and everyone has to follow their heart. Maybe she was like, I want to be with my family and friends, and things are still, we're still in the middle of a pandemic basically. So maybe that was part of it. But that is a big thing to how long are they filming every season? You would think she'd be able to film a bit and then go home, and I don't know. it's interesting thought. Lotus, the way they gaslighted Swan this episode. Oh my God, Swan has been through the ringer too. Oh my goodness, so funny. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was. Liliana says, I was thinking of some brother they didn't know about coming in, but I think I wouldn't mind Macy transferring her charmed one powers to Josefina. I could see something like that. Yeah, maybe they would transfer that to Josefina. That would be very interesting. I really love the idea of Josefina as a replacement. She's an exciting addition to the cast already. Yeah, I think a lot of people really like her. So how do you think they'll end the show in season 4? Who knows? Did we even expect the Whispering Evil, which came up like what, 2 episodes ago? We thought we were like focused on like some whole completely other different thing with like the Perfecti, and now it's like JK, it's actually the Whispering Evil. You know, like I have no idea what's going on with this show. You know, and I think it's like fun, but also when you think about it, like I don't know, like there should be some kind of like overarching goal. Like in the original Charmed, it was all about like, you know, the source and everything, and like there was like a big overarching thing, and like as MB just said, the stories aren't consistent. I literally have no idea what's happening. You know, they bring in things, they change it up. That, you know, we thought like Jimmy was going to be something, and then they got rid of Jimmy, and nobody even talked about it ever again. You know, like the sisters don't even know that Harry killed Jimmy. You know, so yeah. Shill says, I hope they don't give Macy the Prue send-off getting blasted by something similar to Shaq's. Yeah, I hope that, you know, since the fact that they announced that she's leaving, I hope that it's something they did know for a while and that they're actually able to give us a legitimate ending. The reason that I don't necessarily think that Shannon Doherty, her leaving was planned, was because they didn't really give us a real ending. Like, it was kind of like, it kind of feels like you're like missing something a little bit when you go between seasons 3 and 4, because like there should be like a whole scene of like a death or whatever, and there's not. So, you know, I think I hope that because we're finding out this information now, that maybe they have planned a real ending for Macy, and not just like, oh, she's not there now all of a sudden. Oh, well, you're telling us she died? What? You know? Let's see. Lotus says this might be a chance to cast a Latina Hispanic actress as her sister. True. I mean, this is supposed to be about a Latina group of women, and then it kind of turned out that wasn't true, and it was like, you know, only one actress is actually Latina in the entire sisterhood, which like, just don't call it a Latina, you know, Charmed then. Like, I did a whole video on that already, though, like a couple years ago, that I'm sure some of you might have seen. You can look for it on my channel if you want to hear more of my thoughts on the representation, the Latina representation. A lot of people, though, having theories that the show's not going to be renewed past season 4. It's done. Jimmy had so much potential. Jimmy could have had an immense power, could have had some leverage over Macy. That would have made more sense. You know, like they bring in these storylines and then they get rid of them. What happens to Safe Space? Another great point. You know, there's a lot of things to think about. MB, I think they should have hired all Latino women for these roles. Yeah, I mean, and if you're going to cast an Afro-Latino woman, like cast an Afro-Latino woman, you know, not, you know, make it seem like you did, but then it turns out you didn't. Like there was all these articles. Y'all can check out that video I did about representation. We don't need to get into it. And having Latino women writing these stories, absolutely, absolutely. And I will give a little plug that if you are interested in talking more about representation and inclusion and things like that, I host a podcast called Pop Culture Planet on my channel and also on podcasting platforms where we talk all about that. That's like the whole focus of it. Ooh, Tornado, great theory. There's a storyline that's been used on Ghost Whisperer where Melinda's husband died and stole another man's body, and in the comics, Prue stole Patience's body. So that's another great theory, I think, of what could happen. That's really cool. I would like to see that actually. Again, though, I think if they did that, it would be hard to bring like Madeleine Mantock back as Macy. But basically, if they had Macy die and then she took over someone else's body. Oh my god! You know what else that reminds me of? Drop Dead Diva. Did anyone watch that show? So good, so good. I highly recommend. Liliana also says, I've not been happy with the show, but it has potential. It's just some choices on some plots that make it feel like it's shooting itself in the foot. Yeah, I think I just think that like the story is not consistent. It's been all over the place. I think so many people have been very vocal about wanting to see more background on the sisterhood and like their family and all of that stuff. And, they give us like in this episode, little hints of things occasionally, but like most of the time we don't really get to do that. I would have loved to see Ray come back this season, or finally learn more about Macy's side of the family. And now we're definitely not going to get to do that, unfortunately. Oh, yes. Also dropped the ball on exploring Maggie and Macy's father's side of the family, finding out she's half black. Yeah, they brought that all up, and they just dropped the ball on that. Dropped the ball. Ben and Kay, just because they're set for season 4, does it mean it has to happen? I would. I guess not necessarily, but like I would think that it probably will. But like there's been shows where they've been greenlit for, just take a look at The Society. That was greenlit. I don't know if they started writing anything for it, but like that was greenlit for another season, and then now they're not doing it. So there was a bunch of shows like that at the height of the pandemic. I think the issue with CW is that they change writers every other week. Yeah, I mean, if it was a little bit more consistent with the writers, maybe it could be more consistent. Overall, this is a great one. I love this theory. Blazer, what if Macy possesses Julian's sister's body? I mean, they have not talked about Julian's sister at all since Julian passed, but that would be crazy. I don't think she was a Latina though, so then we won't get that representation, but that would be crazy. That would be very interesting. Wolf Girl Sav says maybe they will go back to Hilltown in season 4, possibly bringing back some characters from season 1. That would be interesting too, to go back to like the roots, even though they don't have Macy. Like that would be interesting. I just don't know if they're gonna do anything like that though. Jocelyn says, I love Drop Dead Diva, great show. So good. You guys, you have to watch it if you haven't seen it yet. It's so good. Toby says the saving grace for the CW is them not really going into too much detail about Marisol's past because they could easily introduce another child. Like, true. Hopefully they knew before she was leaving. Hopefully they knew that she was leaving before this episode was filmed, and hope this episode ends and give us like answers. Yeah, I hope so too. I feel like they had to. I feel like they had to. Otherwise, it's going to be like so disappointing if it's like not clear what really happened. Yeah. So, Drop Dead Diva was a great show. It really was. Let's see. I would like to see Macy inhabit another body, and maybe Madeleine can come back in flashback episodes if she wants to appear on the show again. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool too. I like all your theories, guys. I feel like you've really thought about like what could really happen. I'm going to address a couple more comments and questions, and then I'm going to wrap it up because I just don't want this to get too long. But we got 73 people in here. Thank you so much. As I'm wrapping up, again, if there's anything like you really, really, really want me to answer, feel free to do a super chat. But I'm going to try to get to, a couple more before I wrap up. Anthony says, history repeating itself. Macy is gone just like Prue died off the show. Macy's my favorite character. So sad what will happen with Harry. Yeah, I mean, like we said, they've really set up all this stuff with Harry that is built around Macy, and now she's gone. So it's like none of this matters anymore, which I think is a bit disappointing. Tez, welcome to the party. Yup, Madeleine has announced that she's leaving. They did like a TV Line article talking about how she's leaving the show, and it's really hard for her to make that decision to leave, but that we can look forward to a spectacular 4th season. But unfortunately, she's not going to be in that. Brian Summers Production says, I'm utterly upset about Macy. She's been my favorite since episode 1, since she reminded me so much of Prue. I'm utterly devastated and, why did I say it? Oh, no, I was looking at the wrong line. I am devastated and my BF is too. We love the hasty stuff and now it's all for nothing. Yeah, Macy was such an intriguing character coming into this story. The fact that she's, had those demon abilities and everything just, I think, added such a interesting new dynamic to the story, Another interesting theory. Heather says maybe they'll do like the whole Dallas strategy. The sisters are going to wake up and Macy was all part of a dream, but they have a different sister in real life. That would be crazy. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wolf Girl says, I feel bad for poor Harry. He went through so much for Macy, and now it's going down the drain. Macy was so relatable, especially in season 1. That's why she was my favorite. Absolutely. I really don't see the point of Harry being there for them when he isn't protecting them. Agreed, guys. We never really got to know more about Macy's demon side. You're right. I don't like that they took so much away from Macy. No science, no demon powers. The writers need to cool things off. We don't need an incoming apocalypse in every episode. They're always super stressed with no time to bond. I agree. I like episodes when we get to see them have a little bit of fun. And they did that sometimes in the OG, but they don't really do that in this show. I think that they had a little bit more of that in the first season where it was like funny, there was some humor, they were trying to live their lives and also figuring out this magic stuff. And then, ever since then, it's just gone downhill. I think they just try to be a little bit too serious. Let's see. Lotus says maybe Mel having the baby in 2021 changes the timeline so much that it affects Macy in some way that leads to a recasting. Won't get to see Macy's full powers at their full potential. I was so excited to see her grow more. Yeah, cool. Yeah, right. Every episode's so serious. Like, I want to see some fun stuff. Like, I liked when they had like the Halloween parties and they were like, using glamours to make margaritas and stuff. Like, that was fun. Yeah. Now that I guess the big question though is who's going to be the new Whispering Evil, right? Like, we haven't even talked about that. We've just been so like just freaking out over the fact that Madeleine Mantock's gone, which is crazy. But like, who's going to be the new, is Macy going to be the new Whispering Evil? Is that why they say that she's like an encounter with the Whispering Evil leaves Macy on the brink of death? Maybe Swan and then she attacks Macy. I don't know. There's something's gonna go on there. But yeah. Yeah, guys. I appreciate all of your comments. There's just Lotus, maybe Swan will be the new Whispering Evil or Macy. You never know. But whatever's going to happen is going to result in Macy leaving the show. So I'm hoping that they actually address that and don't just like leave it weirdly hung on, like a weird cliffhanger, and then we just like know that she's not coming back. But Quay, maybe the Whispering Evil is gonna, go inside Macy like we saw in the future, and that's how she's gonna die. Because there's no other way. Yeah. Very true. Oh, Sean! Shout out to thank you. I gave a shout out to you earlier. I don't know if you were here, saying thank you so much for tagging me in the article about Madeleine. You're how I found out that she was leaving the show. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I'm going to start wrapping things up now. But we have next week, guys, that's the finale. So make sure to join me Monday, 6:30 p.m. EST. We're going to be talking about the finale. We're probably going to be talking about Madeleine leaving again. Maybe we'll be talking about this baby. I don't know. Is this baby going to be born? And, you know, I would love for you guys to start thinking already of, like, what are some of your favorite moments from the last 3 seasons, and maybe we can talk about it in that last, finale episode, so that, you know, we could remember before we get into season 4, where we have no idea what's going to happen next. Like, no idea. So, yeah. So Sunrise says, can the new Whispering Evil be Francesca so they have a reason to vanquish her? I mean, that would be a great opportunity right there. I just want to thank you guys again so much. I'm probably going to say this a million times in the finale episode next week. But thank you guys so much for joining me all the time to talk about this show. I really appreciate it. Toby says, I'm more excited about Friday's finale than this entire 3rd season. I hear you. I cannot wait. Heather, thank you so much. So make sure you're ready. 6:30 p.m. EST Monday. We are talking about the Charmed finale. What's to come? Will we have any theories on season 4? I have no idea. But thank you guys so much. And I'm really sad Madeleine's leaving the show. But, I mean, I hope all the best for her. And I can't wait to see what happens next. All right. Till next time. Bye, guys.